Well, hello everyone. This is Bob Ferguson, and today I've got my friend and colleague Alex Taylor with me. And Alex is the entrepreneur in residence for Fairfield, my colleague in Traction Thursdays, and really a fellow who is doing a tremendous amount of good for our community. So I asked him to come today and talk about his role in Fairfield. So, Alex, thanks so much for being here with me.
It's good to be here, Bob. It's nice to see you.
So, you are with Nubo Co. Tell us, what is Nubo Co?
Well, Nubo Co. is a nonprofit organization based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and it was established in 2014 as the Iowa Startup Accelerator. And as the accelerator cohorts came through, we acquired marketing professionals, accountants, programmers. And as such, by the end of 2 years of our startup accelerator cohorts, we had accumulated a skunkworks marketing agency,
Uh-huh.
and that ultimately became Nuboco, under which the startup accelerator is housed. And as the programmers were not helping, when they were not helping the accelerator, they were actually marketing their services to the larger community. We got funding from the state of Iowa, the Iowa Department of Economic Development Authority, to encourage economic development through entrepreneurship and the technical support that we were giving the community. That has since evolved into workforce development and retention with technical skills, computer science education, K-12, adult education, et cetera, professional development. And the entrepreneur side of our organization, the Nubo organization, still has a startup accelerator, but now we're doing work in various communities such as Fairfield or Clinton, Iowa, or Council Bluffs. And there are a few other communities in there. And this is all under the direction of trying to provide economic development for various communities. So there's a staff of 11 of us at NuboCo. We're based, as I said, out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I travel, however, around the state doing work with communities. I do mentoring and coaching, and then I run a startup accelerator through NuboCo.
That's so great. And I think people would like to know a little bit about your background. You have a pretty stellar background in academics, and you're also an entrepreneur. You run a business yourself with your wife. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's correct. Well, I graduated from the University of Iowa with an English degree and went back and got a master's in post-secondary ed. My intention was to be a dean of student affairs for a university, but as fate would have it, I ended up working for a lot of fast growth, high tech companies when the telecommunication industry was deregulating back in the 1900s. I was doing some HR work with them, and we were going through a lot of mergers and acquisitions at that time. I jumped over to a computer software company back when software was on floppy disks, and worked for an entrepreneur there for many years. He went on to found, the gentleman I worked with went on to found GoDaddy. His name was Bob Parsons.
Mhm.
I left there after we merged with Intuit. I left there to start a distance learning company with some friends, and we ended up selling that company over to the telecommunications company I originally worked for. I worked for Michael Dell and managed his global employee communications, helped them install their first intranet. Then went on to work for a manufacturing company, did some email marketing for a large print organization, had my own consulting firm for a while. After about 22 years in these various jobs and industries, I ended up finally getting a job with the University of Iowa, helping them start the executive MBA program for them over in Des Moines. I did that for 10 years. I've been teaching for the University of Iowa ever since the Tippy and in the Tippy College of Business. I jumped ship from the university. I got bored. Honestly, the university is a great place, but I'm got a lot of energy and I'm very entrepreneurial. Did some work with an artificial intelligence enabled ophthalmic diagnostic company for a while, and then jumped over to run the startup accelerator. And I've been there for 6 years. Along the way, my wife and I purchased a small retail store called Woofables. It is now a national manufacturing distribution company, and we've scaled that and expanded that to have a national paw print.
So, what activities does Nubo Co. support in Fairfield?
In Fairfield, the things that we've been doing, certainly partnering with you, we do Traction Thursday, which is Fairfield's version of 1 Million Cups. It's a gathering of entrepreneurs and area business leaders who want to be involved in the ecosystem, the local ecosystem, to support startups and small businesses, help them grow and be successful. Additionally, I've partnered with Mindy McAdams, who is over at the Chamber of Commerce, and we've hosted an Intra Day where we did a mini accelerator, if you may, for interested startups and small businesses. Additionally, I work with the local SBDC person, Kelly Prickett, who I believe is speaking today at Traction Thursday, if I
Yeah,
remember
she's going to
correctly.
be going first, and then Greg Louie is going to be going second. But yeah, we're going to hear from her today.
Yeah. So partner with her, we host a quarterly luncheon for area startups. Again, just trying to nurture existing startups and build that local ecosystem and support for startups. One other program I've helped implement here, we hosted an angel investor education workshop for anybody in the area interested in establishing a local angel investment fund to support local startups. Looking ahead, I'm in discussions again with Mindy McAdams and our event management staff at NewBoCo to host a Women in Business luncheon. And that will take place hopefully sometime this spring or summer. And one other initiative I'm working on is a startup weekend where we have a 3-day weekend. Anybody with an idea on the back of a bar napkin or in between their 2 ears that wants to kick around an idea and get ginned up, we would work with them for a long weekend to see what we can do to develop that.
So, what excites you most about working with Fairfield?
Interestingly enough, Fairfield per capita is the most entrepreneurial community in the state of Iowa. Yeah, I would say that Fairfield is not shy for ideas and desires to start small businesses, and that is it's exciting. It's very, very exciting. And as you said earlier, you may have a few base hits, you may not even get to base, but you have more people swinging to try to get things started here in Fairfield. And the enthusiasm and excitement around the ecosystem to help each other be successful is really encouraging. And I get really excited working with people, and they equally reciprocate with their excitement.
That's great. And of course, Fairfield has an illustrious history of innovation, starting with the Chautauqua movement in the 19th century, and our very powerful, creative manufacturing cluster, which has been here for a long time. So all those forces together really make Fairfield, I think, a very special place. So,
I agree.
so what are you looking forward to next? I mean, what's our next big move, other than what you
Well,
just mentioned?
well, two things come to mind. Again, I did mention the women in business luncheon and the startup weekend. One of the things that I humbly hat in hand request. I'm here based on grant funding that was generously asked or provided by the Iowa Department of Economic Development. Ed Malloy and Rachel Hilliard and Mindy McAdams collaborated with a request to the Iowa Department of Economic Development for having me here for a year. And that contract ends June 1st. And I'll probably continue to come down on a somewhat regular basis, but I'm not obligated to. And there are some other communities that are trying to get me to come help them. So I am hoping we can find grant funding to keep to continue my work here in Fairfield. I'd like to see our attendance at Traction Thursday improve. And I'd like to see what would really get me thrilled is to see 7 to 10 startups come through a startup weekend that can be plugged into this ecosystem. And from there, who knows? There's a world of possibilities. One other area where I do believe NewBoCo will have some opportunity to help is your recent designation as a Main Street community. And I've had very good initial conversations with Jill, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with her to see what we can do to fill a few storefronts and again, try to encourage more shopping downtown and more foot traffic to bring Fairfield to a higher level and be a good example for other rural communities in the state of Iowa.
That's great. So finally, what advice would you have for anyone who wants to start a business right here in Fairfield?
The first piece of advice is don't do it alone. There are so many wonderful resources, not just here in Fairfield, but across the state. And these resources are very willing people and as subject matter experts willing to help. So with that being said, ask for help and get pointed to the right direction and don't be shy. Trying to do it alone is only going to take you longer and cost you more money. The second piece of advice that goes almost hand in hand with that is make sure you do your customer discovery. Do a lot of research before you spend a lot of money. Make sure that you have good product market fit, you have good pricing, and that your idea has some traction with your potential clients. I know run into occasionally the entrepreneur who just blasts right in and just opens their doors for business, and without having done the research, end up closing within the first 6 months to a year because they don't have the foot traffic, or there is no product market fit, or while the idea looks good on paper, in actuality, it needs to be refined and pivoted. And so working with others to identify that product market fits just saves a lot of time and money. And, it's okay to fail fast. I failed fast a few times when I learned how to ride a bike. I
Yep.
failed fast and failed fast and failed fast, but over time I stopped failing and started riding. And that's true with entrepreneurship.
It's so great. And I can think of quite a few connections that have been made through you and Kelly Prickett at the SBDC, which has been really very, very helpful for entrepreneurs. Okay, so I think that's it for us, Alex.
Well,
Thank you so
fantastic.
much for being with me this morning, and thank you for all of the service you're doing for our community. Any final thought?
Well, your first, thank you for all of your leadership in the community, and it's a thrill to partner with you. And feel free, if you know of any entrepreneurs or anybody starting a business, whether you're in Fairfield or not,
Yeah.
reach out. I'm in your budget. I'm free, and I'm very willing to help
The
anybody
price is
that's
right,
interested.
right?
The price is right. The price is right. Thank you very much, and accelerate on, everybody.